Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host Zara Pedersen, and in today's episode we are going to be talking about ayat number 78 from Surah al-Muminun. But before we do that, I would like to wish you a Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. It is not Ramadan yet as I'm sitting here and recording this episode, but it is believed, of course, that it will happen over the weekend, either tomorrow, Friday, or the next day, potentially Saturday. But either way, over the course of the weekend, inshallah, we will enter the month of Ramadan. So I pray that Allah accepts all of your efforts and your fasts this Ramadan, inshallah, and that He will reward you abundantly for all of your efforts, for yourself, those around you, those your family, your friends, and everybody that you care about, inshallah. Ameen. So that should be very exciting. On Monday, inshallah, I'll be recording from a state of fasting. That's always fun. I've done that before. But it's always fun because my brain already feels a little bit like muddly. And then with the fast, my brain has a tendency to make very long brain farts. So that should be very interesting. But inshallah khair, we're going to go with it and just kind of do it because, you know, it's Ramadan. There's so many rewards and blessings with it, and I'm not about to jump ship at that point, okay? All right, so very quickly before we go into Surah 78 from Surah al-Muminun, just to let you know, the Quran that I am using is the Quran journal that I'm also selling in my stand store. It is a journal that I have designed and made. Sorry, that was really heavy, the way that I kind of like plopped the my Quran journal on the table. I didn't translate this Quran. The translation is by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan. It is completely in English, which is why even though I have my period right now, I can still touch and handle and read this Quran because it is not considered the actual Quran because there's no Arabic writing in it. It is purely the English translation. So if you're looking for a Quran to study over the course of Ramadan, inshallah, feel free to pick this one up. In fact, that's actually, I need to make a little video and a little bit of promotion around that. I only put the Quran journal on sale, like an actual discount on the price in the month of Ramadan. So inshallah, you can also get it at a slightly more discounted price than usual because it does otherwise kind of come with a hefty price because of the sheer like volume of the book. I don't know if you're watching the video, but it is a thick book and it costs quite a bit to print. Hence the cost of the book. So if you're looking to get a slight bit of a discount over the course of on this Quran journal, then perhaps order yours inshallah over the month of Ramadan. Okay, so I think I've said everything that needs to be said before we go in. So inshallah we can go ahead. As I said, Surah al-Mu'minun today. And it is verse 78. And it's quite a short one, but it says, "It is He who gave you ears, eyes and hearts, yet how seldom you are grateful." That's it. That's the ayah. And for such a short ayah, it is so greatly impactful, so meaningful. And for those of us who genuinely want to connect with the Quran, this is an ayah that will touch your soul in a very different way, but very impactful way. And the reason why is because number one, we understand, of course, the importance of gratitude, the importance of developing gratitude as a skill. You know, it's almost as a skill. I don't quite know, like a way of being, not a skill. Actually, I take that back. It is not a skill. It is a way of being, as a lifestyle. And the way that it quite literally impacts our lives, the way that we approach everything in our lives. Obviously, also the way that Allah approaches us as in return. And we know this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says a couple of times in the Quran that He will give more to those who are grateful. And there are more rewards for those who are grateful. So it really impacts us, gratitude, in a lot of ways for the better. Alhamdulillah for that. And yet, we sometimes get stuck on things like gratitude, right? Because we get caught up in dunya. We get caught up in things that we don't have. We allow the waswas of shaitan to come in and push us onto the side where, well, I am grateful, but, you know, but I am grateful, but. How many times have you heard somebody say that? How many times have you heard yourself say that? How many of you right now are willing to raise your hand and admit to the fact that you've probably been thinking that as well? Maybe even recently. because it is a very normal human thing to do. It doesn't make you a terrible person. It doesn't make you a bad Muslim, but it does mean that there is something there that we need to bring awareness around so that we can correct our ways for the better. Because one of the things that we tend to do is we get caught up in things that we don't have. We look at everybody else, especially with things like social media and having a bit of a sneak peek into other people's lives. We'll be like, oh, but that person has an amazing body and I'm working out and eating healthy and my body never looks like that, or I'm struggling to lose the weight, or I've always wanted to go on travel to this and that destination and this person seems to always being able to afford traveling there and they're doing it sort of like in like luxury states and whatever, or that person has a beautiful nasib and yet I'm struggling to even find somebody to go on a date with me. And so we can, this sense of comparison, or this state of comparison where we're constantly looking at what everybody else has is making it very difficult for us to appreciate what we do have. And it makes it very difficult for us to appreciate even the small things. And it's not even just appreciate the small things, but it's being grateful for the small things as well. Being grateful for, even as it says here in this ayah, your ears, eyes, and hearts, right? Some people, they may have ears, but they don't have hearing, right? And so for those of you who are listening to the podcast episode, even those of you who are watching on YouTube, I don't know what the subtitle situation is like, if it's very good on YouTube. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But generally speaking, if you can't hear, it's much more difficult to enjoy a lot of the content that a lot of us who have hearing do enjoy on a daily basis. Eyes, right? To be able to see that I'm wearing makeup today because I've been watching a lot of Project Pan videos on TikTok and I'm like, hey, I want to do that too. But I can't do it very often. I can do it when I'm got my period, but I'm not the kind of person who wants to do it when I'm praying, because I'm not like, it's the wudu of it all, right? And having to wash my face and stuff, I'm just not there. Let's not even get into that conversation because okay. But eyes, so we can see things, we can see each other, we can see dangers ahead of us. Some of us choose to be blind to those things or whatever, like walk into danger, but that's a whole other conversation again. But the point is, like, the things that we are taking for granted and saying things like, yeah, but everybody has, but not everybody does. Not everybody does. Some people might have eyes, but they don't see. Hearts. Everybody has a heart, but not everybody has a healthy heart. Some people have ailments and diseases, illnesses in their hearts. Some people have hearts that Allah has turned away from Him. Astaghfirullah, may it never happen to us. But these are things that we're taking for granted. My heart is turned to Allah. Allah has allowed me a heart that is open to Him. These are things that we're taking for granted. I always say to my clients, whether it's my one-on-one clients or in the membership group, the number one thing to be grateful for that always brings you back to that state of gratitude is Allah made me a Muslim. That is one of the biggest mercies and blessings that Allah, if not the biggest blessing and mercy, in fact, it is the biggest blessing and mercy that Allah can give to any of us, is to make us His servants. And that is because when He is opening our eyes to Him and gifting us Islam and thereby Himself, He is actively saying, I want you to go to heaven. I want you to live an eternity in this abundant place that I have created for you all in the hereafter. But not everybody gets to go there. Only those of you who I've chosen, handpicked to be Muslim, my servants. And that to me personally is like, wow, that I am so grateful for that, because there was definitely a time where I wasn't Muslim, right? There was definitely a time where I was doing everything that I shouldn't be doing, and where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, astaghfirullah, was the last thing on my mind. Now He's the first thing, alhamdulillah. But I've lived that life before, and Allah could have just as well said to me, and maybe a lot of you as well, I'm not impressed with what you're doing, and so I'm going to turn your heart. I never want to see you again. You are destined for hellfire. But He didn't. He didn't, because why? Allah is most merciful. He is most forgiving. So He noticed something in me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I will never know, but I am so grateful that He did. And He said, I still want to give you another chance. Islam is a beautiful thing to be grateful for. Having Allah in your life is a beautiful thing to be grateful for, because when you have Allah, you have everything. You have everything. It doesn't matter if it's a minus on your account, if you have the money but you're owing a lot of money somewhere or whatever. It doesn't matter what your situation is, if you're single, if you're going through a divorce, if you're happily married but you're struggling to have children. It doesn't matter. You are rich because you have Allah, and that is enough to be grateful for. And instead of looking at what everybody else has, and I am grateful but I would still like this, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Strive. But never strive to the point where you start forgetting the things that you already have that you must show gratitude for. Never let those desires that you want in this dunya or even in the akhirah get so above or bigger than it's supposed to be, so that you're forgetting the little things as well. Because those little things are very, very big and impactful and meaningful. And without those things, we'd all be struggling and saying, Ya Allah, why have you made me suffer so much? Why don't I have that thing? And it can happen in a heartbeat, in a single heartbeat. How many times have we heard stories of this was a young person, athletic, they were doing great in school and whatever, and then there was an accident, and now they're in a wheelchair and they have to write through one of those like speaking machines because they were paralyzed. How often have we heard about somebody who lost their arms and limbs, legs, arms, whatever, because of an accident, because of war, because of disease. And they become very happy people because they're grateful that they're still alive. And they're reminding us of like, wow, there's more to life than what, just being beautiful or having a lot of money or whatever. But it's also a drastic reminder to us all, and reminder to everybody who's willing to see, don't take anything for granted. Be grateful for everything, because at any moment your whole entire life can change. And this one tiny but powerful ayah reminds us of that. I'll read it one more time to you. Again, it's ayah number 78 in al-Muminun. It is He who gave you ears, eyes, and hearts, yet how seldom you are grateful. Let's do better. Inshallah, over the course of this Ramadan, perhaps you're going to start a gratitude journal or gratitude practice. Perhaps you're going to start sharing more vocally with the people around you about the things that you are grateful for. It's a very, very beautiful practice to start doing when you actually speak out loud your gratitude, and don't just keep it to yourself, because it also helps other people to remind them of like, yeah, actually, I'm also grateful for this thing. So let's help each other this Ramadan, inshallah, in the Ummah. Speak out your gratitude. If you don't feel comfortable doing that yet, write it out, speak it to Allah. Don't just come to Allah with either complaints or things that you want. Also come and give those thanks, and make it sincere, of course, inshallah. Feel the gratitude inside of your body. Be in that state of gratitude. It is a very, very powerful emotion. It's not a feeling, but emotion. And it is a very powerful emotion to sit in and let course through your body. It really does work wonders for you. So I do hope that you got a beautiful little reminder from today's episode, inshallah. And I hope that you can take it with you over the course of Ramadan this year, inshallah. I do hope, again, Allah will accept your efforts, your fasts, and your prayers and your du'as this Ramadan, inshallah, and that you have an amazing time. If you are with family or if you are alone, I hope you enjoy yourself. Even if you're like me, you're going to have a lot of iftars by yourself. Inshallah khair. There's still a lot of rewards and blessings in there. You are not alone. If you do feel alone and you are alone over the course of Ramadan, feel free to shoot me a message over on Instagram at Manifesting Muslimah. I'm also alone. It doesn't matter to me that much, but I will definitely send you a little message of support, inshallah, if you need that as well. My darling, I am going to love you and leave you until next episode on Monday, inshallah. But until then, please don't forget to live in love.